Normally it's the other way round.
Well,
what does that tell us?
It could be the new normal. In my mind, the issue in the US is, what is the outlook for quantitative easing? How are they going to widen this back over time as the growth numbers start to grow better? In the UK, the question really is, weak growth, what is the next plan for QE? So my sense is, when you look at demand-supply balances for two markets, I'm not totally surprised you're seeing gilt yields below Treasury yields.
Yeah, is it all about growth, Matthew? I mean, if we get, you know, is that what the game is?
In the UK, well, no,
just for an investor generally. I mean, you know, are they looking?
Well, it depends which market you're looking at. I mean, they're not going to see much growth in Europe. So
no,
they're looking for growth. They're going to have to need a pretty good magnifying glass, and certainly in the UK. So I don't think they're looking for growth there now. I mean, in the US, they are looking for growth. I mean, the US is decisively changing, as you were just touching on there. So I mean, and one of the interesting things that's happening in the markets at the moment is a very strong divergence between the US and Europe, and I'm including the UK in Europe. I mean, the Eurozone has its own problems, but the UK has a separate set of problems, which is that it's basically cannot grow at the moment. And that's, we can talk about that.
When I say it's all about growth, I suppose what I meant is all about the lack of growth, or the search for it. We'll take a short break, still to come. Just coming up to the close of play here in Europe, stocks are in the red.
We cannot hold! We cannot hold! We cannot hold!
Peak Resources is a dual-listed Australian mining company. Their Ngualla rare earth project is a recent discovery. The maiden mineral resource of 170 million tonnes at 2.24% rare earth oxides ranks as the fifth largest rare earth deposit in the world outside of China. Ngualla has several fundamental geological aspects that offer distinct advantages for development over other rare earth projects.
Well, some of the advantages Ngualla has is the high-grade mineralisation sitting right at surface on top of a hill. As a thick blanket going down up to 140 meters from the surface. So it's a large, solid, continuous deposit, high-grade, which will be amenable to open pit mining.
In essence, what we want to be able to do is put this mine together as an operating entity producing a number of high-value rare earth products.
In 2 or 3 years' time, we want to be building the plant and going into production. We have the feasibility studies to complete, the pilot plant to build and produce a greater volume of product for assessment by offtake customers. But we aim to be completing those studies by 2014. In 2015, commence building the plant. It will be an on-site processing plant here for the production of a rare earth concentrate, with a view to being in production in early 2016.
For me, doing something every day and delivering kind of clean is exciting. Still, to do the hard yards and spend some years getting that to that fruition, and then effectively hitting the green button and making it happen. It's exhilarating.
I can't build here.
NHK World is your gateway to China and the rest of Asia.
Get different perspectives on what's making the news in this dynamic region.
From the latest in business to the latest in technology. Explore culture, history,
and beauty of this corner of the world. Home to more than 4 billion people.
objective,
Curious and daring.
NHK World. Get close to the world with
The countdown to the close of the European markets is sponsored by RG, creating opportunity for over 35 years.
Coming up to the close of play here in Europe, so 20 seconds to go. We've been fairly choppy during most of the session, but even Stevens, in fact, just after lunchtime today, we had some green on the board, as you can see. But Then we've got a report from the Cypriot Finance Minister who'd offered to resign. Maybe the Union Party would abstain in today's vote. Equity markets falling towards the end of the session. We are definitively in the red at the end, apart from a couple of countries. Ireland is actually up 0.8%, and Denmark is a little bit further. Elsewhere, it is red across the board. Not so bad for the FTSE 100, just down 0.2%, 12 points lower, 6,445. Central DAX just below the 8,000 mark here, so 0.75%. Bigger falls in Italy and Spain on the Cyprus news. Banks weaker. Even down 200 points, 2.2% lower. The FTSE mid off 1.5%, was down 2%. Really what's been going on in Cyprus. As I say, the Finance Minister apparently offering to resign, hasn't necessarily been accepted. This is useful to see whether they're going to impose on a measure, whatever may be in that measure, on bank deposits as well. And earlier on TNT, one strategist explained how the crisis in Cyprus had changed his positioning.
It is creating a bit of uncertainty. Clearly, it comes on top of lingering uncertainty over the political situation in Italy. So all in all, it makes us a bit more cautious on Europe. Not so much on our overall willingness to take risks. We are still overweight equities, we're still overweight global real estate, but we have filtered down our exposure in Europe, so we're now underweight European equities. We're cautious on peripheral bond markets, we're using liquid space, so that is the main change.
And the euro touched 128.55 a short while ago. That's
Your forces are under attack.
The dollar. Joining us for more is Jonathan Compton, Managing Director at Bedlam Asset Management. Still with us the story, you've just been writing up your latest March update. You have to sort of sit back and wonder what something might mean for
is slowly trundling towards some form of sovereign default. And let's assume that Cyprus
Your
restructures and gets the money and puts taxes in and reform, which in my view is possible anyway. It's still default. It's just a question of how you come to that. I think the real thing, everyone cannot think like haircut and is the intent by the Europeans where further bailouts become politically highly dangerous, to trying to become the Italian state to form a government and reform. I don't think it will happen either. So that
and while this slow motion progress has been going on, of course, equity markets have been grinding ever higher. Can that continue?
I'm very comfortable about equity markets. I can fully see, as most people can, they're pretty expensive. But we're in unique times. No economic model has ever encompassed every G10 government printing like bandits or interest rates going down to zero. How do you no one knows. It's never happened. And frankly, the alternatives are pretty different. You can a yield basis, a growth basis, so it's almost the least bad and sometimes good.
Your forces are under attack.
Quite a high likelihood for that outcome. Given it's very likely quite large economy, there is also a high likelihood that was a very strong trend.
Your forces are under attack.
Greece, Spain,
Your forces are under attack.
I take belief in the incompetence of governments to ever do reform, and therefore take the easiest option, which is to print and to print and to print. And so you'll still have this extraordinary sea of money. It doesn't get better, but it still keeps things floating along. It will take a long time. It's not just going to be a total outcome. I have another, the 23rd of August 2008, ISO 24.
Your forces are under attack.
My goodness.
Let's just get some of the stock picks here. Because at the end of the day, it's all about choosing New York, where this is a company, whatever, outside of London. Just a couple here. SPI holdings in Japan. Well, that's a fascinating piece there. Are you supposed to be doing a company education in New York?
Something do go wrong. SPI is the largest network company. It's not something that I managed to do 54 net business and is very keen to the trade for the European market. It's a straight line and volume. And I'm looking at it then. Nexon is one of the 4 big cable producers in the world.
Your forces are under attack.
It's been restructured and a large stake's been taken by the same family which owns Africa. And it's been rationalised.
And also, what's interesting here is Carlsberg. I mean, we also have problems.
The origin of my business are bad business, they do it very badly. Carlsberg is unusual. Danish listed business, no, small European business.
Your forces
number 1
are
in
under
Russia,
attack.
number 4 in China. It's the emerging market here. It is valued by the government. Of course they go
Okay, actually, I'm going to go on. Let's look at that. Thank you very much for joining us. Asset Management. If you've got any thoughts or
Your
comments,
forces
you
are
can
under
email
attack.
us europeanclosingbell@cnbc.com, or you can tweet indeed to me at Ross Westgate as well. Matthew, just what do you think of what Jonathan was saying about and they're very much anyway.
Yeah, I think
they're expensive, but they're going to keep going up.
Yeah, I don't think that's because the people in charge aren't that competent, that they can't always control the events. So, I think he's right. The eurozone will break up eventually. There's a lot of time to get it to go on.
Private equity flows in China for a second week, according to a report down at them. 10 challenges joining us is John Hess, GM founder of Hamburg, Georgia London. Are they not some of the challenges?
I think the biggest ones are probably in the eurozone. For all of the reasons, many of the reasons. The US seems to be recovering a bit. And we need to although they benefited the corporate performance. The real challenge is we believe primarily the European market. It's not going to go away. It's still very good. But activity is not very down in 2012.
Your forces are under attack.
Particularly in Europe.
Not enough
revolve
minerals.
around the exit market, although there's been good news today with Countywide. E-show should be in the market next week, which is very good news. Trade sales will sporadic at best.
Is that lack of an exit blocking people buying in because they're worried if you're typically on a 5-year cycle, you do worry today about what the exit market's like today?
Your forces are under attack.
It's a 6-year type of cycle, and it does. The reason it inhibits people from buying in is because at the moment there's about 160 billion euros
Your forces
of
are
overhang
under
in the
attack.
market, meaning commitments that have not been invested yet in the marketplace. That's remained flat until that starts to come down, and the amounts people put into new private equity funds will remain low and very significant. We're in a bipolar market now, where the people everyone likes have no trouble raising money, and the others don't.
Your forces are under attack.
That's how we started with Starcraft. Where do you see this market in 3 years' time? Because I suppose what I'm struggling to understand at the moment is what might the future be in that timeline?
I can't build here.
Crystal ball may be as good as and what we believe at Altius is that we're
Your forces are under attack.
just starting to come up the bottom of the cycle. And we're starting to see a bit more deal activity. The U.S. always seems to lead in this space. The inability of medium and smaller sized companies to get debt finance in the buyout market is a great one. Yet we've seen in the last, really the last 3 or 4 months, big deals are getting refinanced quite easily.
Your forces are under attack.
New issuance routine hasn't entered the middle market yet.
but in the middle market, we're seeing a lot of private debt funds raised that will do this. So our view is that there will be a normal workout in activity. There's a consolidation in the market. Good funds will be able to raise money. The investment phase will start to
particularly in the States now and elsewhere. I mean, funding seems to be getting pretty cheap.
Well, that's the other thing.
Your forces are under attack. Your forces are under attack.
There's an awful lot of cash and liquidity in the marketplace. There's a huge imbalance about where it's going.
Your forces are under attack.
Surrounding the withdrawal strategy that will actually not quite a dismal world in the future because it is withdrawn and the scarcity of assets begins to be eliminated.
Not necessarily. It sort of depends on what part of the marketplace you're in. Certainly for the big the mega
Your forces are under attack.
We happen to believe they won't.
Take short break, still to come. The red briefcase is returning. What proposals will we discuss how the UK Chancellor George Osborne is still able to stay.
Forces are under attack.
The CNBC Rate Recap is brought to you by ADS Securities Sponsor, the institution FX bullion trading. The UK government's budget is about to be revealed. Chancellor George Osborne has already stated the coalition is sticking to its hard line on the deficit. So what can he do for growth?
Launch detected.
Find out Wednesday on CNBC.
Upgrade complete.
Personalize it. People put their own photos on it, I'm sure. You can make it anything you want.
Samsung has raised the stakes in its battle with Apple, opening legal proceedings in an attempt to ban the sale of iPhones.
The Apple faithful out in force as they fight to get their hands on the new iPhone 4, with many
Foxconn shuts down one of its factories in northern China as a protest over working conditions.
Your forces are under attack.
Right, Cyprus is still in our portfolio. I wonder whether it's stateside.
We've already had a couple of sessions of decline under our belt. And looking at the numbers already today, going to be another one. But nonetheless, in terms of Cyprus, a little bit on the back burner here. We've got other things going on. For example, we've got some pretty good news from the housing market here in the States. So check out some of the names like KB Home, Toll, Lennar, Hovnanian Policy, all these names, because new permits for construction have climbed to the highest level since 2008. Really good time to be dealing with the coming out of the economy here in the States. We've got Raymond James, helping with earning estimates with all listed home builders, and even upgrading the stocks of KB, Lennar, and Toll Brothers, all of them receiving the entire except for Lennar. America's really jumping on Walgreens, News has been a very well-off alliance with signed a 10-year deal with AmerisourceBergen, ending Walgreens' current contract with Cardinal Health, which, by the way, is therefore very sharply to the downside. And we've been having quite a lot of fun with this story today. And, it's unfortunate for the stock. It's Lululemon. It is sharply lower. It's down, I think, about 12% over the past 3 days and sharply off again today. This is a Canadian company and it's been pulling shipments of, I guess what you call unexpectedly sheer women's yoga pants, i.e. kind of see-through yoga pants. retail
Upgrade
stores. The company itself, Lululemon, says it is going to hurt its bottom line. And as you can imagine, you know, those that have bought those pants, anyway, a couple of stories to tell you about regarding companies, US multinationals doing very interesting things in emerging markets. For example, you've got Starbucks, it's buying a farm, its first farm in Costa Rica to develop new coffee varieties and also to be able to try different methods to eradicate a fungal disease known as coffee rust, which has been cutting coffee production. And Starbucks says we're not ruling out buying more. And you've also got P&G, that's the world's biggest household product maker. It's spending $450 million upgrading and building new factories in Africa. And they say, Ross, that sub-Saharan Africa is the fastest growing region for their business. So watch them do some interesting things down in that part of the world. So those are some of the things we're following here. Back over to you.
Thanks, Minute. My director's just told me that Lululemon, he's got lots of pairs of Lululemons, and he's a fitness fanatic. Can't quite understand why they're not selling that.
Maybe if that's your thing, then good for you.
Thank you, Mandy. Right. I seem to understand the Cyprus finance minister has resigned. The move has not been accepted by the earlier. CNBC caught up with the